Hello, my name is J.bolduc, and today I'll be talking about the importance of fathers in the home. My general purpose here is to persuade you of the importance of fathers in children's lives, and to give the negative effects of fatherless parenting a spotlight. I'll talk about the issue of fatherless households, how it affects society, and how to fix the problem. Of the biggest mass shootings in America, majority of the shooters had broken or fatherless homes. This is not to say that not having an active father guarantees that you'll have a tendency towards violence, but it's definitely a factor. For the last year, I've been interested in the effects of single parenthood without a father on children and society. Society's been told that single parenthood is fine, even good. My purpose is to refute that. For the majority of the late 20th and the early 21st century, the populace has been told that single parenthood is fine. In fact, Psychology Today says that an online survey found that 70% of 1,000 female participants said that single parenthood is just as effective as two parents. But there's evidence to refute that. Dr. William Pollack, Harvard psychologist and author of Real Boys, concludes that divorce is difficult for children of both sexes, but is devastating for males. He says the basic problem is the lack of discipline and supervision in the father's absence and his unavailability to teach what it means to be a man. Pollack also believes fathers are crucial in helping boys to manage their emotions. As we have seen, without the guidance and direction of a father, a boy's frustration often leads to varieties of violence and antisocial behavior. That's from Dr. James Dobson's Bringing Up Boys. Prisons are populated by men who were abandoned or rejected by their fathers. One story comes from a prison. There was on Mother's Day, a prison had an event where you got a free card to write to your mother. And so many inmates wrote to their mothers that they ran out of cards. So they thought, let's do the same for Father's Day. And hardly any inmates wrote anything to their fathers. So as time goes on, more and more children are raised without fathers. Some seek for meaning in other people. Oftentimes that can mean gangs. Or they find nothing and wind up despairing and spiraling into depression, and turning to even darker things like drugs or drinking. 40 to 50% of the nation's marriages end in divorce. Many custody battles end in favor of the mother, leaving children with minimal time with their fathers. According to the National Center for Children in Poverty, 70% of children in single-parent households are low income. That's 16.9 million children. In addition, 63% of youth suicides come from families with one parent. Dr. William Farrell, the author of The Boy Crisis, says that there are many things wrong with parenthood in America. He says the best way to fix these problems is to fix marriages. When a marriage is already on thin ice, the best option is not to have kids, but often people have children right as their marriage is starting to have problems. Dads have been shown to be extremely important as to how children turn out. Children without fathers are more likely to have depression, be delinquents, or get pregnant at a young age. According to W. Bradford Wilcox at the Institute for Family Studies, children with good dads generally turn out to be better disciplined with fewer neuroses. For example, when fathers play with their children, they teach them roughhousing, which can make a child understand what is acceptable play and what isn't. Fathers also help children be brave in the face of risk. In addition to helping them stand up for themselves, they can learn that risk can be rewarding. Things fathers teach their children are mainly coping skills. Fathers use discipline in different ways than mothers and are better at confronting children when there is an issue. Fathers are much more likely to enforce the discipline they enact. As fewer fathers are in their children's lives, more delinquency will be present in society. The already present problem of depression among the average populace will also spell trouble. Awareness seems to be the most effective root solution. Many of the problems families face today concerning fathers aren't even known about. Whether a problem is made obvious often determines whether people will suffer in silence or actually start talking about it. But this isn't a complete solution. Rather, it is a seed of fixing the problem. This is a battle which must be fought on multiple different levels. The main solutions seem to be change the way welfare is given to mothers. The current welfare system rewards mothers with each consecutive child they have, creating an incentive to have children regardless of the problems it will cause for them. In a sense, this puts the government in the role of breadwinner. Also, a concerted effort put forward by churches to help fathers could also be useful for defeating the problem. This could cause ripple effects all over. Unfortunately, most of the culture has portrayed fathers as bumbling fools. That's another area where the populace's view of fathers could be improved. With these solutions, we're going straight to the center of the problem, revamping our current welfare system to encourage dads to stick around. Churches making a concerted effort towards helping fathers is also important, because kids both need a mom and a dad. Lastly, the culture must be changed so that fathers are seen as important again. Policy change, like welfare change, can be extremely difficult and unpopular to implement. It is my opinion, however, that drastic changes need to be made to the system to bring about real change. Step one for fixing this problem is to raise awareness of it. Lots of people don't understand the gravity of the situation. This could be done through articles online or rallies, or even simpler, just talk about the problem and how common it is. The second step is getting churches to stand up and start working for educating men to be better fathers. This step is simple. All you have to do is talk to your pastor. They'd be most likely willing to help you. A solution to the problem of single mothers is taking excessive welfare benefits seems to be the removal of monetary incentives to continue having children. The first two solutions would take a great deal of organization, but are definitely doable. To be done, but are definitely doable. But to be done, the last one would be done last, and isn't as likely to happen as the others, since it isn't useful for a politician to enact. The outcome of fixing this problem would be a net positive, whether it makes a large impact or small. Having families with two parents would be healthier for society in the long run. Most likely there would be lower rates of delinquency in young men and a reduction in pregnant teens. Since families are at the center of civilization, when they're thriving, the populace thrives. If a great effort was put forward and people got working on the problem, there'd be a noticeable change in the next generations. Whether that's 10 or 20 years out, I can't really say. As you can see, we have a problem on our hands. Fathers are being seen as less and less important, but if we work towards making them valuable again, we can make a big impact on society. I hope that I've made you aware of this problem and that I could convince you to view fathers as a valuable element of our society. Thank you. Any questions or suggestions on how to improve or anything? None?
Come on, guys. Just one thing he can improve on. Well, Mom over here would say notes, fewer notes.
Okay.
But
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.